super excited for vegetables. That's probably because, well, a couple of reasons. One is I love these recipes that we're making so much today. And so I'm excited to share them with you. I think the other thing I'm excited about is to show you the techniques behind them, because blanching vegetables, which means just cooking them in boiling water and then eating them from there, or doing something else to them to like roast them on the outside, it's one of my favorite ways to prepare veggies. So like for Thanksgiving, I love green beans like this, where you just cook them in hot water really quickly, and then you shock them, and then you can heat them up with other things, or even caramelize them a little bit with some things. We're also going to do the cauliflower that way. So what I want to do to get started is do the things that are just going to take a little bit of time. And by a little bit of time, I mean it's going to take like 10 minutes to cook the cauliflower in the water. But I want to then be able to get it in the oven pretty quickly, right? So we have time to let it roast and get all gorgeous. So why don't we do this? I'm going to get myself some water to drink and turn on the oven. I've already got my cooktop going, both of them. So I've got water for the cauliflower going, and then I'm going to get a little more salt filled up, because we're going to need it for the green bean water and for the cauliflower water. And so once we get things blanched, sounds very exciting, right? We'll get into the fun part of kind of how we garnish all of these things. I also want to ask, you guys are always welcome to ask me questions about the recipes as we go. I want to know if any of you are trying to cook along with me on any of these specifically, because I already made the chimichurri yesterday. I know we've done chimichurri in this class before. This is my newest, latest and greatest version of it. But we made it for my cookbook shoot yesterday. So I've already made the chimichurri. And the joke is I'm burnt out on chimichurri, pesto, and romesco, the three things I keep trying to improve. And so mine is already made. So if you're planning on making the chimichurri in class, hi, Chrissy, I see you there too. You can also, you can ask me any questions you have, but I know for you regulars, you've probably already made chimichurri before, and you can just do it in a blender or a food processor, or you can hand chop it if you want. Oh, good. You're going to be doing the cauliflower and the carrots. Fantastic. So I am making the relish for the carrots because it is so good, and I am so excited about it. And that's a version we've done for Traeger grills before, but I'm pairing it with something different in the new book. You guys, I'm so excited. The book like finished itself this week. It's about 90% done, let's say, because I have a couple recipes to tweak, and I have to finish rewriting my intro tomorrow and the next day. But we started photography yesterday, and it's going to be so fantastic. And it sounds so weird to say it'll be here next September, but you never know. It could be here earlier as shipping figures itself out. So no promises, but you guys are getting a sneak peek, because basically versions of all of this are going in the book. And so, yeah, you loyal House of Imposters get it before anybody else. Okay. So let's take a quick break. If you have any questions for me, you can certainly put them, load them up now, or you can ask me as we go. I'm going to turn on the oven, get my salt, and I think I've dirtied every glass in this house. I've realized it's a problem that I leave them everywhere. And so I'm going to get myself a fresh water glass, because I've only put about 10 in the dishwasher today. I've been like this my whole life, and so I've given up. And get yourself a drink, get settled, get your recipes out if you just want to ask questions as we go, and we'll get cooking, okay? All right. Again, I need to learn how to like play elevator music right here, or put up a sign that says intermission. But I'm just proud I got a new camera, and I'm laughing because I kind of look like a ghost. I put on really bright lipstick by mistake, but Halloween, just in time for Halloween. Okay, let's turn on this oven. Why am I singing I Dream of Jeannie? I do not know. Okay. I think I have everything I need to get started. Hi, Anne. How are you? How's Tahoe right now? How's the weather? And what part of Tahoe are you in? You don't have to say specifically, but north, south, east, west. I just need a little bit of sparkling water to get started. And then I will move the camera. I was just so excited to have it that I wanted to put it on here to check the clarity first. And then I taught a class the other night to a group of strangers / new friends. It was a job I was hired to do. And I set up 2 cameras, which was amazing. So it was on Zoom, not Crowdcast. And so I have to learn how to do that for Crowdcast for the next class. But going forward, we'll always have an overhead camera as well. So I won't be having to struggle between the 2, and I can just toggle between the 2 and it'll be awesome, okay? So while we wait for our water to finish boiling, I know most of you saw the emails this week or my posts about the Thanksgiving class that we're doing. I don't think we've announced the actual House of Haas classes for Thanksgiving yet, which we'll do Monday or Tuesday for you. But the basically Better For You Thanksgiving class I'm doing on November 12th is an individual one-off class you can purchase. And Lindsay Kinder, who is my partner, my business mind here at House of Haas, she also runs Food La La, the entertaining company, and she does online classes for mostly for doing like French macaroons and doing really like sassy ideas. She's got these beautiful craft cocktail classes she does. And so she's going to I'm calling her our intermission that day, and that she's going to teach a cocktail and give some entertaining tips while I cover all of the recipes and the plan for the week. So it took hours to plan this class, and I am so excited about it because I think it's like for anybody who says, I don't know how to do Thanksgiving, or I hate cooking for Thanksgiving, it is not fun, I never get to relax, I kept everyone in mind. And the other thing I'm really excited about is that I'm sharing 10 recipes with you, which are kind of under the basically Better For You philosophy. I have over 40 recipes I saw on my website that you can certainly pull for Thanksgiving as well. Things that are heavier, more traditional. So like if you want creamed spinach, or if you want my herb infused mashed potatoes from last year that are herbs are steeped in cream and 2 sticks of butter, you can find all of those classics. But the coolest thing about this year's menu is that we've worked so hard to make the ingredients speak for themselves. And so, yes, there's stuffing. Yes, there are mashed potatoes. The mashed potatoes are delicious. They're better for you. The sweet potatoes are delicious. I mean, I love the menu so much, but I really kept our well-being in mind, simplicity, and time. So the other thing I'm going to do in that class is teach all of you how to plan throughout the week, right? Like I never wait until the day before the day of Thanksgiving. I just like do a little chunk every day for 5 or 6 days. And I'm not kidding. Yes, you need to put some time in on Thanksgiving, but I take a nap on Thanksgiving. I take a shower and dry my hair on Thanksgiving. I treat it like a holiday for myself too. I do not want to be right here in my kitchen the whole time. I want to be in here for a couple hours, and that's it. So if you want to join us, you guys probably already saw, I'm going to put the code in right now too. And I think you hear our water boiling, but the code for House of Haasers to save $20 off the class is Grateful. And so if you go to Amanda Haas Cooks, of course, you'll go up to House of Haas. And then if you click on it under a la carte classes, you'll see it's like the second option in a row of 4. You'll see me outside with a turkey in front of me. That's the class to sign up for. And then when you go sign up for it, instead of $99, it's $79 for all of you lovely people. So that's the scoop, okay? All right, let's move this camera. I'm going to take my keyboard off of my cutting board and get this right for us so that, let's see, the green bean water is almost ready, and so is the cauliflower water. But we want to make sure it's really well seasoned with salt, because you need that salt to be infused into the bland vegetables. And when I say bland, I don't mean boring. I just mean the salt is really going to bring out their flavors as well. And we want it all coming from the inside too, right? It's going to infuse it. So it's kind of like when you brine something, and you want the salt to add moisture, but you also want the other ingredients to be able to add flavor too. So it's the same concept. We want this food to be well seasoned in every bite, and not just like if you miss what the yummy topping is on it, right? So we're going to make sure we salt our water. and we'll be good to go. I'm going to move my stool away. I'm going to commit to standing up like a normal person. Let's move this, and now I'm going to fix the camera. And hopefully, whoopee! It just seems weird. It seems weird to have set cameras in here, but I think what I'm going to have to do is take these little cameras and literally anchor them so that we're never having to do this anymore. Okay, let me just move it a little tiny bit. Oh, I can actually move my laptop screen forward, can't I? That's good. Oh, I like it. I like it. I like it. So to see me, I'll just have to bend over a little bit, but that's nothing new, right? Okay, let's get it all set up. And we're going to start, like I said, I'm going to show you the cauliflower first, okay? And then we'll get the beans going. Anyone who's trying to multitask on a Saturday will appreciate this, but I knew I was doing this class and my son's coming home from sports practice, and I sent him a text saying, oh, I made you some steak. I was testing a steak, and I have some avocado so we can make guacamole later. And I'm like, I also picked up a sample of this orange chicken I wanted you to try. And his only response was, well, is the steak cooked in a way that it would be good in a sandwich? I was like, grab your own money. I didn't respond. Sorry. You're definitely on your own. Okay, cauliflower, let's do it. Okay, this is about, I've actually got my scale here, so I want to weigh this because when we were doing a cauliflower recipe for the book, it was a really small cauliflower. It was like less than a pound. My guess is that this is between 1.5 and 2 pounds, and I want to know. Oh my gosh, it's 35.2 ounces. So it's almost a 2-pound cauliflower, which, as you can imagine, is a huge difference between, you know, a 1-pounder and a 2-pounder in terms of cooking time, whether you're doing this and blanching it or whether you're roasting it in the oven. And so I just want you to take a note of that. I'm going to add some of this salt to the water while you're cooking, because that's why, as always, I'm going to tell you that times are just guidelines, right? We really have to look for the texture of things, and we have to see visually if things are working like we want them to. And so what's going to happen when I put this in the boiling salted water? Hi, Sandy. We're going to reduce the heat and we're going to let it simmer for usually I say about 8 to 12 minutes, or until I can pierce it with a knife and the knife goes in easily, right? So if you hit it, let's say, let me get my favorite little knife for you. If I'm going to put this in, once it's in the water and I test it and it doesn't go in easily, we're in trouble. If I put the knife in and it just splits everything open, I've kind of overcooked it. We can try to rescue it and that'll be okay. All right. So the first thing I want to do is just trim off any leaves here that I'm not happy about. I think it can look really beautiful to keep these on, right? But what we're trying to do when you roast it is be able to roast it on a flat surface. And so none of these leaves look so pretty that I want to keep them. Sometimes they're gorgeous and they come out on the sides and you can certainly keep those. So I'm just going to pull these back, because what this is going to do is give us easier access to the core, okay? We got everyone around the Bay and in California. I'm curious how much of my customer base is actually in California. I would say maybe half. It's fun to see it spread. I did a class the other night and there were people, the charcuterie class I did, there was someone in Australia. It was so fun to be cooking for around the world. I'm just going to get my compost here. All right. So can you see too, there are like kind of some of these dirty spots where what happens, I think, is that literally when it sits in your fridge, like a little bit of mold starts to grow. See that dark spot? I don't freak out too much. I mean, this is like a brand new cauliflower. So I'm just going to trim it off. If the whole cauliflower looks like that, it's too old. Get rid of it. This one's not. This food stylist told me on a job a couple years ago that cauliflower and quinoa are the glitter of the food world. And I laughed so hard because it goes everywhere and it gets stuck, right? He's absolutely right. We had quinoa all over my house and cauliflower, now that I think about it. Okay, so I like the parts I've trimmed off. When you're doing it whole like this, I so rarely roast it whole because it takes more time, but I just wanted to show you guys how to do it. Again, like I said, you want it to be flat. So normally I wouldn't care, but I do care here because I want it to look nice and be flat for our presentation, right? So ta-da, now it's stable. So if I were gonna do this normally, and by normally I mean just for like a weeknight meal or if I'm entertaining and it's not a show-stopping entree, I would just cut around here and create florets, right? And discard the stem. And I'd cut them into whatever size you like. I'd put it on a sheet pan with the spices and the olive oil and I would roast it, which would take somewhere between 15 and 25 minutes, right? This is the absolute show-stopping way to do it if you want to serve it whole. So this is truly because we're just trying to make it look super cool. But don't feel like you need to roast a cauliflower whole because the time it takes to blanch, you know, that's more time out of your day. So if you don't have it, just go straight into cutting this into florets, roast it on a sheet pan, and then you can serve it with the chimichurri, okay? So huge time saver. All right, so we've got salted water that's at a boil. Let's see, oops, am I using the right? Yes, okay. Here's what I want to do. Can you guys see? Gently put it in the water and make sure it's submerged, which it's not right now. But you know what I could do? Don't try this part at home. Can you see how the top part's not even in boiling water yet? This one's got more water, it's deeper. So I'm actually gonna put it in the back one. But let me just add some salt to that. This is gonna work. So I'm gonna push it down. Oh, it did. It went underwater by itself. So let me switch these out so you can see what I'm talking about. And then I'm gonna pull it forward. Just a little switcheroonie we got going. Turn it back on. How are we doing? Okay. So now I'll show you before I drain it. You can't see it, but you want the cauliflower to be completely underwater. This pan wasn't deep enough for that to happen. And so that's no good. We don't want that to happen. So I'm going to set a timer to start us off. My one-eyed pig. For 5 minutes. I'm being very conservative on the time it might take for it to cook. But again, I don't want it to overcook. If for any reason you're working with a cauliflower that's not very heavy and it won't stay underwater, I've been known to do things like put a dish on top of it to weigh it down, right? So something heavy that's oven proof above boiling, right? Above 212 degrees, but really above like 350, 400 degrees. So I'll put my porcelain plates on top or a couple cereal bowls and weigh it down while it simmers, and it totally works. So pro tip number 1 today, okay? Maybe it's like pro tip number 5, but let me discard this. And then what we're gonna do next, what should we do next? Oh, I'm gonna show you, instead of skipping ahead to the green beans, because I wanna give them my full attention, I want to show you how to cool this down and get the water out of it after it's blanched, okay? We don't want it to keep cooking when it comes out of the hot water because we want to save it so when you roast it, it still can cook a little bit and it's going to just get beautiful. All right, I'm going to need a big bowl. And I'm going to do this when you're blanching. Most recipes want you to stop the cooking of whatever you're doing. So because you want to be able to keep that bite to the vegetable, right? So a lot of times I'll blanch green beans. I take them out and I throw them in ice water to shock them and it'll stop the cooking. And then I'll dry them off. And then I might just toss them in some warm butter, brown butter, or olive oil with something else. And that's all you have to do. That's pretty much all we're going to do today. With the cauliflower, we really want to make sure I stop cooking it because we're going to give it time in the oven to roast and be delicious and delightful as well. And so you really don't want it to be overcooked in the water, right? So I need a bunch of ice to do this properly. I'm going to get this much worth. found something buried in my freezer. Okay. So I'm going to need this bowl, I think, since it's deeper for the cauliflower. So I'm going to put about half the ice in, along with some really cold water. And this is exactly what we're going to do for the green beans as well, okay? By the way, I mentioned for the green beans, I think in the recipe that I called for 2 pounds. That's a ton of green beans. That's, you can visually see how much that is. I think I'll just cook one of them today. Like you could just very easily have this recipe for most nights, right? But I tend to make these green beans for a holiday when I am in charge of bringing food for many, many people. So that's why I wanted to share the big measurements with you. So if you like it and you don't have to do the math on how to make it big for a crowd, okay? Okay, next thing I want to do, I have my ice water ready. I'm going to have it ready for the green beans as well, which we'll do immediately following putting the cauliflower in the oven. I want to get a tray out with some paper towel. This is the one thing where, one of the things where I do not like how much paper towel I have to use. If you have a clean dishcloth, and by clean, I kind of mean new, because you can dry the green beans with a dishcloth by wrapping them up in it. But of course you don't want to be taking a dirty dishcloth or one where, you know, it's just old and kind of, you don't know what's on it. And you're drawing off your soon to be eaten food with it. So I'm going to just use paper towel today to be safe. But it is kind of depressing because it's a lot. And I'll probably have to do this more than once. Not with the cauliflower, but with the green beans. And the cauliflower, what we're going to do after we shock it is we're going to lay it upside down on this, or kind of it'll fall over because we want to get the water out of it as well. So that was Pig Timer's first warning for 5 minutes. Let's check it out. Ooh, this is going to be delicious. Where's my knife? You guys, it's perfect. And so this is almost a 2-pound cauliflower. I can't believe it. I am going to very carefully try to lift this out. I don't really have, let's move this. No, let's move the ice water, shall we? I'm going to move it, and we're going to put it straight into the ice water. So of course, because I'm working with hot water, you want to be as close to wherever you're moving it as possible, right? I would typically, in my slip shot way, move this to over here. No, let's just put it right into the ice bath. I'm going to try to drain out some of the hot water first, though. Okay. Whoop, 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 whoop. I lost her. Mayday. Slippery sucker. Here we go. Okay, in you go. There we go. I'm going to push this back for a little bit, but we can use that water again for the green beans. Okay. And I just want to show you all. So here it is upside down in the ice water, right? I just want to make sure that it's like completely saturated. Add a little more ice to it. Bring the water up, water level up. Whoops. The thing to note too is if you're going to blanch things like I'm doing right now, it's totally worth it to do a couple recipes at once because you've already got the salted water going. And not that it's hard to do, but you know, it's kind of a process to be like, okay, let's stop the cooking. Let's dry off the veggies. So it's really nice. If anybody assigns you a couple dishes, be like, oh, I can do the cauliflower and the green beans, and it won't be that hard. Okay, this is totally cooled down. Very easy to handle now. So I'm going to move into this, and then I'm going to show you. Let's do this. Consolidating our cold water. And everybody with me? It's a quiet quiet crowd today. I don't know if that's good or bad. Or maybe I'm just not scrolling down. Oh, I see a couple questions. Let's see what people have asked. Can you see me? Is that me? Hi from San Francisco. Hi from Oklahoma. Okay, so no questions yet, just hellos. Okay, good. I hope you're still with me, everybody. Maybe I'll put you to sleep. Okay, so I'm going to do this too, right? And just really kind of pat it dry. No questions, just paying attention. It's probably because it's like a new thing we're doing, right? Which is fun. I love it. It's class. You guys, I did have to, it was really interesting to be back photographing the book yesterday because I've never done it where I don't have a food stylist and a prop stylist, and you don't understand how important they are until you don't have one. It took us so long to get going yesterday, but once we did, it was so fun. But I learned so much. I was like, we had the creative director for the publisher here helping us, and he's just so lovely. And I learned so much. It was crazy. My brain was ready to explode. Okay, so now, friends, it's dry. And what do I want to put this beauty in? I want to put it in something I'm just going to pretend I'd be serving it in, right? So if I had a tighter round pan, I would like it a lot. I do not. And so what I really want, I want my copper version of this, which is in my prop pile in the next room. So I'm going to get it and I'm going to show you because it's so gorgeous to serve it like this. I must have put it back. Who knows? I must have put it back. Is it hiding in here? Ah, that's okay. We can stick with this one. It's about the same size, but I love that. I love how gorgeous it is. Where did I put the other one? Is this a joke? It's a bad joke. I'm a joke. Here. Okay, yeah. So we're going to put this in there, and we're going to get rid of this. That's wet enough where I can't use it again, okay? So we're going to just set it aside. I can't use it again for drying off my green beans, but it's not to say I can't use it for wiping something down with cleaner when I'm done. Okay, I've got this. Now, if my recipe and my memory serve me correctly, I tell you to douse this puppy in olive oil and some herbs, and then make sure you kind of get in the cracks of it where you can, right? So if you want it to remain whole, the first thing is if you overcook it, you'll know immediately because it'll be so, it'll fall apart so easily when you're trying to handle it. And so I'm going to just do what I do, which is eyeball this, but I'm going to show you what you need to do to get in the cracks and crevices. And this is why I love having a pastry brush. Okay, so I'm going to take this and some spices. I'm going to get a little olive oil. So what I normally do when I'm just here not teaching is I go like this, whoop, 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 right? And I just get aggressive with it, but I use this little pastry brush to ensure that every bite is going to be well seasoned. And that means with olive oil and with spice and seasoning. So I want it all to taste good. Every little last bit. So if your cauliflower is cooked enough where you can kind of get in some of these crevices with it, go for it. It's just like bonus flavor, right? We're currently composing a checklist of all of my favorite kitchen tools to use before Thanksgiving, and we'll have it up on the website. So it's not just for the Thanksgiving class. So if you're curious about what I use the most, we'll probably launch that within the next week. And I think we're going to try to link most of it to Amazon, which is depressing to me, but I want you all to be able to access things quickly. And then there are some specialty pieces I'll share with you all where you'll have to go to those websites, but it'll be really easy to shop, okay? So I'm going to take my Italian spice blend. Someone can keep me honest and tell me what I tell you to put on this. I think I tell you to put a version of this on there. Fennel, oregano, chili flake. We're going to put something a little different on the carrots, which I'm excited about. Now, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to combine the salt here because I want to make sure that as I sprinkle this and I'm rubbing the spices on, it's going to be well seasoned too, okay? So I know how much salt I put in because I can see it, and I just took a little bit of the spice blend. So let's start up high and kind of see where it falls, and then you can turn it. I love that we get to play with our food just for fun. Okay. And again, just getting in there, right? If you like black pepper, you can certainly use black pepper here too. I've mentioned it ad nauseum that I don't use black pepper for everything, like so many recipes call for. I use it when I want to eat black pepper. I don't want to eat black pepper all the time. I love it freshly ground on salads. That's like one of my favorite ways to enjoy it. But I don't want it on my food just because people don't know what other spices to use, you know? Okay, let me just wipe these off. And get myself a clean towel, which I know I have because I washed them all. There's such a benefit to working in your own home on things like this, but I was cracking up yesterday because when you realize that you don't get to walk away from like the set at the end of the day, that the mess or the cleanliness stays with you, it's just different to get used to. Okay, let's put this beauty in the oven. And I have it up at 425. Someone can tell me what my recipe says. I've got it behind me. It probably says 400, 425. I put it up that high because I want to roast the carrots at that temperature too. So let's put it in. We're going to let it go for a little bit and see what we think. Timer. Okay. All right. You with me? Okay, let's move on to blanching the green beans. So the two things we needed to do where we have to pay attention to hot boiling water are done. And then after that, we'll roast the carrots in the oven with the spice blend I tell you to use. And then we'll get to make the, we'll pretend I'm making chimichurri. And then we'll make the relish to go with the carrots. And then we'll do the almonds and the caramelized shallots in the pan to go with the green beans. So think about this before I move on to the green beans. These are all recipes that you can stop part way. So if you are trying to cook and you don't have time to do the whole thing, you can blanch vegetables like this, chill them, dry them off, and then put them in the refrigerator. And you can just pick up with the recipe where you left off. Oh, I have it at 450. Okay, thanks, Chrissy, because a lot of times I do this on the grill too. Anne-Marie, if you did not cool the cauliflower before putting it in the oven, what will happen is that it'll cook really quickly and it'll probably not crisp up as much because it's just going to keep cooking, right? So you didn't stop the cooking process there, but if you didn't dry it off very much either, what's going to happen is a lot of that moisture is still going to be in there. So just take a look. It'll probably be harder to brown. But if you coated it well on the outside and patted it dry, even if it was hot, great. It's just not going to have as much time to caramelize. The more time it has in the oven for those sugars to develop and get brown, the better. But just watch it really quickly, right? Like check it in 10 minutes and see if it's done. It might be done to the taste. Like if you can pull the floret off of the core, it's done, but it just might not be quite as brown, okay? Any advantage to cutting the cauliflower into pieces to have more surface area? So I either go one or the other, Michael. I either cut it into florets so that it cooks really quickly, right? And you have those great individual pieces. The same would happen even if you wanted to put it, hi Charlie, even if you wanted to cut it into quarters, or like large chunks of florets, it'll just cook faster. So, and yes, more surface area, of course. It's just all about the presentation on this recipe, I think. There's something about a whole cauliflower that people are very excited about still. So you can do whatever you want. The time is just going to be shorter on all of those things. And of course, the more surface area that's exposed, the browner it will be on the sides. Help yourself. That's really cold, Charlie. There's chimichurri here to go with the steak. I'm using it for our lovely class too, so you don't want to use it all. But there you go. Okay, let's do this. We're going to get this pan ready again because we're going to move quickly on these green beans because Charlie, you're going to be psyched. We're doing yummy green beans with caramelized shallots. The waters are already boiling, and my green beans, this is a corner I like to cut, you guys, for the holidays. These are organic French beans. When they call them French, haricot vert, what they're talking about are the younger, smaller beans. They're just more petite. So they look really pretty. They cook faster, right? So it's pretty typical, like the French version, and then the American version is a much thicker green bean. You could certainly take the time to trim all of these ends. Many of them are trimmed when you buy them in the package like this. This one just fell through the cracks. It's funny. So when I do it, I trim the stem end. I don't trim that end because it's totally fine and the texture doesn't change. You'll notice the end that you need to trim. Nobody wants to eat these little thingies, right? So if you buy them fresh, you'll need to cut one side off of each one. There's another one. See it? This camera's better. I really think it is. So this is 1 pound. The thing with blanching is that when you put a lot of food into boiling water, it's going to drop the temperature dramatically. So what I like to do is I don't like to shove it all in. It's the same thing with pasta, right? Like the water is boiling and then you throw a whole box in and then it just stops. And you're like, what's happening? And then it sticks and it's not moving around. I want to put in about half of these to make sure that it doesn't drop down so significantly in temperature that it's going to take forever to come back up. It's hard to time that way. It takes longer to gauge when they're actually done. And so I'm going to take a look. Let's move this up. It's pretty cool that we get to use the cauliflower water. I very rarely am blanching so much stuff that I have water already ready to go, but don't worry about, oh, it's going to taste like cauliflower. It's fine. It's totally fine. So it's at a rapid boil, which I like. And so I'm going to drop in about half of this and let's see what that looks like, okay? We really want these to be a little bit crunchy when you take them out because it's such a bummer if you've gone to all of this work and then they're just so soft you can't really appreciate their flavor. They're not back to a boil yet, so I think I am going to do these in 2 batches. And let's set my timer. Keep in mind the water is still very hot, but I just don't want to drop it so much that we're super confused about how long they take. KQ, I see you asking, do I ever cut it into steaks? Absolutely. So you can also do it kind of like at the parboiled stage like that. Since I blanched it and it's still in one piece, you could cut it into steaks there and then roast it on the sheet pan like that. If you guys are going to do it into florets or steaks, use a pan like this and then put some parchment down if you want. It just because it brings out all the sugars in the cauliflower, it makes it harder for your pan to clean it, right? Harder to clean your pan. It's not harder for the pan, but just put a sheet of parchment down if you want to roast it that way. Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be great to cut into steaks at that kind of in-between stage. So I've got my tongs still. They're so vibrant and gorgeous. By blanching them in the ice water too, by shocking them like that, you're going to help keep their color, which is very exciting to me. And then look at the beautiful rainbow carrots I got. I like to buy these because when they sell them at the store, most of them are still pretty thin, so you can cook them whole and you don't have to blanch them, which is cool, right? But if you just have traditional carrots for the recipe, don't worry about it. You might just want to actually cut them in half lengthwise so that they don't take too long to cook. Okay, my piggy stopped. See how green and gorgeous they are? You can't really tell up against my t-shirt. Pretty amazing, huh? They're perfect. Quick. In you go. In you go. And then I'm going to put my next batch in and just start the timer again. So that was about 3 to 4 minutes, you guys. If they're traditional green beans, they're probably going to take 5 to 7. Okay, let's do the next batch. In you go. I just love an old school timer. It's more fun than my phone. Okay. Actually, that's funny. I put that in my compost. No! Garbage. Let's get some paper towel down for both sets of green beans. And we'll put them all on here and dry them off before I'm ready to move on. Any other questions so far, friends? Is anybody doing anything fun for Halloween? I am not. We don't get trick-or-treaters at my house here. And since we're working on the cookbook next week again, my mind is not towards trick-or-treating. All right, let's take these. That water's still pretty cold, even though the ice is dissolved. So I'm not gonna bother adding more ice cubes either. Look at how gorgeous and green those are. You can tell pretty well on this camera. I'm putting them in front of the light. Ah, gorgeous. All right. I think I have enough time to have a sip of water. You're gonna go easy on me. Chris, they are gorgeous. And as much as I love a good green bean casserole, I mean, I'm not kidding. I love green bean casserole. My grandma used to make it every year. I usually don't do it at Thanksgiving because I want to enjoy something fresh and delicious next to the richer foods, right? So this is a great example of why this would be on my basically better for you Thanksgiving menu, because it's so good. And I'll watch people go back for seconds, even though it's not considered one of those splurge foods, right? Okay. These are a little crunchier. Oh, they're close. They're good. I'm going to turn off the heat because that's our last batch. Let's grab my tongs. And then blanch away. So you'll see on my Thanksgiving plan, sometimes I even do the green beans, the blanching 2 days ahead. I normally do it at least a day ahead. And then once they're dry, I wrap them up in a little paper towel and put them in a container in the fridge and just keep them like that ready to go until I just want to reheat them with the other ingredients. We might even try it a different way to like save a little more time today, and that is do the shallots and the almonds kind of at the same time in the pan instead of doing the almonds first, taking them out, and then doing the shallots and then adding the green beans. So let's go crazy. All right. These are perfect. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. When you're working with such beautiful things to start with, you just don't need to do a lot to them. Rinse that out. Okay. Fun. So, let me give myself a little bit of space here to roll these up. So if these, if this cutting board was, or if this paper towel was totally saturated, I would probably even transfer them to a new one. But I think it's still going to be able to soak up, yep, a little bit of moisture. So I'm just going to do that. And then let's like cut these on top. We're just going to come at them from a couple different angles. Yum. Honestly, you could just put butter on these and a little salt. They'd be so good. Maybe I'll do that tonight instead of my popcorn habit that started. I'm obsessed with having popcorn every night. So good. Okay. I like it. I like what I see, friends. So the other reason I'm trying to get all the water off of this is because when you go to put them in a pan and you've got the hot olive oil, and water, right? So they literally like pop. They can blister and pop. So if they're really wet, that's what happens. And we obviously do not want that. So these are good. And I'm going to put them in something smaller to get them out of our way while we're doing the other veggies. Let's use, actually, let's just use one of the bowls I had since I'm on my own dish duty. I got to tell you, having Caitlin here, who is my jack of all trades, culinary assistant / cook, recipe tester, lovely human being, yesterday. It was pretty amazing to be kind of stressed out about what we're doing on the photos because we're all learning, right? And trying to move quickly while getting beautiful shots. And she just kept this kitchen going. Okay, these I'm totally saving as well to clean later because they just aren't that wet. Okay, terrific. So the beans we're going to put aside. We've got these blanched. Again, you could stop at this part and put them in the refrigerator and they would be fine, but wrap them in paper towel, okay? So like they kind of don't sweat too much without something to absorb it. So wrap them in a paper towel and then put them in a Ziploc or in a container, airtight container, and you'll be all set with this, okay? So now, while we're waiting for the cauliflower to roast a little bit more, why don't we make the spice mixture for the carrots and then we're gonna put them on this roasting pan and put them in the oven. Here's the chimichurri I already made, okay? So Chrissy or anybody else, if you're making chimichurri, I trust you. You can't really mess it up because it's totally up to your own personal taste when you're trying to decide, when you're trying to balance it at the end, you know, like if you like it really acidic or if you like it a little bit sweeter. I think the thing to keep in mind is that whenever you're serving chimichurri with something else, think about the flavor of the other thing. Like, is it neutral or is it really strong on its own, right? Because a lot of times if you're doing something that is a little less in your face, say like roasted cauliflower without a lot of seasoning, the chimichurri, even if it feels really acidic to you now, it'll probably chill out when you serve it with something else. It's just like salad dressing, how I say, oh, you know what, it might feel really aggressive without anything else. Oh, great, Chrissy. Okay, cool. Do you guys want me to start pulling you into these? Because I can, by the way. I think I can like pull you in so you can show us your finished product from time to time. I would love to do that. Oh, and by the way, I haven't announced the prize for today because I can't remember what it is. But Wendy Wilson won the steak knives. Do I have this right? And Jane won the she won the Heston pan. So we have our winners for all the last classes. We're caught up. Yes, Susan, you can absolutely use basil instead of cilantro. Cilantro is polarizing. Let's check this cauliflower. Oh, it's looking good. I actually want to show you what this cauliflower, I want to show you what it looks like 15 minutes in because I'm actually going to kind of like baste it. So, and I'll show you why. Let me grab another towel so I can actually carry this big heavy pan. And actually, I'm going to need to land it here. You got to really think through this, folks. All right. Can you see? It's barely starting to pick up color, but there's not a lot of juice in the bottom, and that's partially because of the surface area down here. It's like the heat or any of the oil hits and it evaporates. And so I actually want to put a little bit more, here's my brush. I want to put a little more oil on it. I don't want to put like, let's say water or broth down here right now, because what would happen is it would help steam it more than anything else. And so I'm just adding a little more oil because I want the color to be nice. Let's just put it in this bowl. That was sugar. If any of you guys follow Traeger grills or if you're on their email list. Oh, yay, Deb, you got that one Heston pan. I think we did another Heston pan last week. I'm getting confused between the meal planning class and our House of Haas classes. Everything's a blur because since I taught these late in the month due to my health stuff, I'm totally forgetting which prizes are going where. But all I know is that this is twice or three times I've given something away to someone in Canada, and then it's really hard to ship there, right? So I was like, oh, I can send you a gift card or do something else. And then they're like, no, I've got family in Oklahoma. What is it with Canada and Oklahoma? I'm being sincere and being like, is there something or like a connection I don't know? Or did people go from one place to the other? Because it's, or is it just chance that three winners? This is over probably the last 2 years. have had family where I could ship it to them in Oklahoma. One was Florida, but I think 3 were Oklahoma. It's kind of funny. Okay, back in it goes. All right. So if your oven has hot spots and you take it out and you check it like I just did, don't be afraid to turn it. Turn the cauliflower 180 degrees, turn the pan, or turn the cauliflower in the pan if you put it back in the same direction, because most ovens do have hot spots. And so it's just something to think about. If it's getting really brown on one side and not on the other, just turn it and you can even it out with the rest of the cooking, okay? All right, moving on, back to the carrots. So here we are. I'm actually going to build this on the sheet pan because, once again, who wants to dirty another dish? Not this girl. I'm too busy trying to work and then relax. I'm really in this great phase right now where when I'm working. Like, I got so much done on my book this week in silence. I couldn't believe it. And then when I'm off the clock, I'm off the clock. And so I don't want to be washing dishes all night. I'm just going to trim that part off because I didn't like it. Okay. This is an argument for getting the parchment sheets instead of the roll. You can order sheets on Amazon, which I'll share the links with you there as well, because it's so annoying when you rip it and it's not set. And this is the parchment paper I like the most, but it doesn't come with any sort of cutting mechanism. And so you're supposed to just hold it back. It doesn't really work very well. So culinaire, yeah, chef papier, you need a new couteau. All right, get rid of that. So let's talk about carrots. I love these baby carrots I got. Well, I call them baby, but they're not really baby carrots. They're just they've been hybridized, I'm sure, to do all kinds of different things. But I think it's so cool because the roots are still on there. So I scrubbed these really well because they were very dirty, which indicates that they're growing objects and they come out of the ground. So it's a good thing, right? I'm going to take some of these little roots off because they're not really, it's not like they're inedible, but they're not going to do anything to improve the carrot. If you would like to peel them, absolutely peel them. And you could peel them the morning you're gonna cook them. I don't say to do it earlier because if you ever peeled a carrot and put it back in the fridge and then it kind of develops like a sad dry coating, I think it's because we're letting some of the sugars out. So if you are gonna peel them, try to peel them and then use them right away, or at least within the few hours. Oh, the other thing you could do is you could put them in ice water and put them in the fridge and they'll stay hydrated and pretty that way. I'm just running my hand in the opposite direction in which the roots grow. And it's just picking off the big ones. Okay. Now, yeah, it's really funny how many, they probably clean them more at the farm wherever they're buying these from, typically, because I've never seen them with so many little roots. Looking so real. Anybody else have questions as I'm going with this? No? Feel free to ask me. Oh, hilarious, you guys. My friend is cooking, and she's cooking a dinner. This is my dearest, oldest friend. She's cooking a dinner for like 10 or 12 people tonight, and she's cooking a lot of what we're making right here. And she called me yesterday being like, did I do the right thing with the chimichurri? And the thing I thought was so funny is that she knew that she could tell that this was a different chimichurri recipe than my others. And I was like, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just different, a little bit different. And on the new one, I used only cilantro and parsley, which is really typical to where it comes from in Brazil. And so, but I think that we just have more of a distaste for cilantro. And what's the deal? Some people, it's like a genetic thing. You taste it and it tastes like soap. I don't have that, but I know a lot of people do. And so you certainly don't have to use cilantro, but I think it surprised her when she tasted it and it was different. Okay, I'm just gonna put these all like this. The other thing you could do, I mean, if it's not a holiday, I would serve it right off this sheet pan, right? Because it's so dang gorgeous. And you'll notice I just twisted the tops off. I didn't even bother cutting the greens off because they're so pretty. It's like Bugs Bunny. You could end up eating them whole like this. But I know I have a picture like this on my Instagram from 4 years ago when Traeger came here and we shot a recipe like this, and it was just so gorgeous with the relish over it, right? So if you want to roast them like this, it'll just make it easy to transfer them to a serving dish, or you can serve them right off the sheet tray like this, and people will ooh and ah. Okay, now the one thing I want to look at is what the spice blend is I'm telling you to use. Fennel seed, a little bit of sugar, the tiniest amount, which just dissolved in here. Whoops. Coriander, cumin, olive oil, garlic, and lime. This sounds amazing. Combine the spices and sugar. And then all I'm going to do is coat my carrots with the spices and sugar. And then add, let's see, pour 2 tablespoons. And then I'm going to add the garlic and the spice mixture. Okay, you got it. And then what is it? 425. That's what I'm cooking on. Large sheet tray and roast for 30 minutes. 30 minutes? These aren't going to take 30. Let's see what happens. Let's see how long they take. Do I ever make a red chimichurri? I do not, but you certainly can. I make a romesco, which is kind of like my favorite red sauce to make, with toasted almonds, sherry, thyme, or mint. I love smoked paprika as an ingredient on some things. I like it with sweet potatoes. I like it with sweet things to add depth. But I don't make a red chimichurri. You can actually add red chili pepper flakes to it as well. Okay. All right. So let me get a little bit of new sugar because mine dissolved and we don't want that. Are you good, Charlie? Okay. And then I want coriander, cumin, fennel. We can do that. Coriander, it's just so nice to have everything right here, you guys. Fennel. I bought new coriander today, but I'm just checking to see if I have any here, which I do not. So let's get all of the spices we need in one place. And I've got my garlic here. I've got my microplane. I'm surprised I tell you to put the garlic on at the same time, but I think that is an old technique I used when I wrote this recipe for Traeger. And they test all of my recipes for me on top of me doing it. So I trust them. Okay. Now you'll notice, friends, that I'm not measuring, but I am at least reading my recipe. Oh, thanks, KQ. I love having my spices right there. And when I get stressed out, I organize it. It's like my relief system. 2 teaspoons fennel seeds, friends. A teaspoon of sugar, teaspoon of coriander, half teaspoon cumin. You know, I have a commitment to you all to not call for random amounts of things like, use 1/8 of a teaspoon here and then 2/3 of a teaspoon there and a half a teaspoon here. It drives me bonkers. I mean, I'm exacting with my food. I want it to taste good, but I'm not crazy. We're here to make your lives easier, not harder. This is probably, do this. If you like this spice combination, make extra and then save it so you don't have to do it again, okay? How much do I call for my coriander? 1 teaspoon. I have these little glass jars that I'm going to use for this. I love these Spicely Organics, first of all, because they're organic. Second of all, because they're not so much that you won't use them, right? But they're hard to store like this. And so I want to show you. Oh, look, there they are. Ta-da. I got these little jars. Are these ball? Yeah, they're ball jars. They're so cute. So I'm just going to pour those spices in there right now. And then I'm going to write with a Sharpie after class that it's coriander. And I put the date on there so I know how long they've been swimming around in my spice drawer. I know I've told you, my father-in-law kept spices from the 70s. And so when we were helping him move from one house to another, this had to have been at least 15, 20 years ago. So let's cut him some slack and call this early 2000s. He still had spices he was moving from house to house from the 70s. God bless him. We love John. Okay, let me put this in the garbage. And then, so we've got the salt, we've got the spices, we've got, so fennel sugar, coriander, cumin, and then I just need some salt. So we'll do the salt separately here. You guys can see all of this, right? Which is terrific. And then I'll put the garlic. I'll just shave the garlic, grate the garlic right over it. So let's just do this. I'm going to now you can certainly do this in a dish so that you can coat them more thoroughly. But this is how I do things when I really don't want to do more dishes, right? Look at that. I'm just getting them coated on both sides. Think about how beautiful this dish is on a Thanksgiving table when you've got so much brown food. That's the one thing, you've got turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, like the most color sometimes is like a sweet potato. Or like even when people do creamed spinach and all of these rich veggies, they all kind of turn the same color. And so this is not that. Let's just sprinkle some salt. I'm going to be generous with the salt. This one is so cute. Oh, this is delicious. I know what I'm having for dinner. All of this. I'm going to mix my spices with that fancy tool called my finger. It is, you know what? This is just a beautiful spice blend. Smell it if you can before you use it. You could certainly add chili flake if you want some heat. Just going to kind of roll it around in that as well, because since they're coated well in oil, you don't have to worry about the spice blend not sticking. I think I'm saying, do I alphabetize them? I do, but I get out of order kind of easily because I get lazy about it, or I accidentally buy extras of something and then I have like 3 of one thing, and so I'll put the extras in the corner. But I alphabetize them for the basic spices, and then I have all of my kind of like specialty things that are like in weird size things like smoked paprika or my nom nom paleo spices. I have them all in one section just so they're easy to spot too. Let me check the cauliflower. Sorry to walk away. Oh, it's looking so pretty. I tend to pull things too quickly. So I'm going to give it 5 more minutes. And then back. All right. So as the cauliflower is coming out, the carrots are going to go in. Isn't that fancy? It's like we meant to do it. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're perfect. We're perfect. We're perfect. That's funny that you do that too, KQ. It's a fun, it is frustrating if you use a lot of spices to not have them in any particular order. So then every time you go in, you're like, I have no idea where they are. Okay, you guys, we used so much garlic in the past day for the photo shoot. I think it was because we did my basics chapter with a lot of sauces, so there was garlic galore, but we were using it as a prop to show as well, and I was like, how did we go through 3 heads of garlic in a day? We managed to. Okay, I'm just gonna use this really fast to try to peel this clove because I want to shave it. You can use a smaller knife would make more sense. I'm just trying to pull this peel off of it, which it's actually kind of perfect because the peel's a little bit dry, so it's coming off more easily than a garlic peel normally would. Garlic skin, I should say. Let's get that out of the way. And then I am just going to take this over these and grate away. So if you don't have a microplane, you can just mince your garlic with a knife. Just use a little bit of salt like I've taught you so that it's so fine. It's not even like dropping out yet. Oops, it's all, well, I'll show you what I'm going to do aggressively, and then I'll just make sure that I'm coating it all. It's probably, you have to be so careful using this. It's great because you get these tiny like you know, like very melt in your mouth pieces of garlic. But when you see what it's doing right here, I'm going against the grain on the back to pick them all up because they're not even like really falling off the knife. So look, I learned something new today. This is not the best way to do it unless your microplane is really sharp. Mine's dull. And so it's just kind of like sticking. What should happen is that even if you tap it a little bit, the garlic should fall down. It's just all sticking on the bottom. That's really funny. So I'm going to use a knife and just put my knife through it. And then let's put some salt in it because it's so slippery. It's really frustrating to try to cut it and it just goes flying away. The knife or the salt is like an adhesive. This was a big clove, so I'm not going to use the others. I think this will be plenty. I wonder if there's garlic in my pistachio pomegranate relish. Nope. We'll do that next. Okay, this is perfect. Let's get these carrots back out here and put this on. Now watch this. I'm going to sprinkle kind of from up high because nobody wants a big bomb of garlic. You could also, if you want to grate it on after it's cooked, or when they come out and they're just warm, you can put it on right then, and it won't burn the garlic. It'll just be very fragrant. I kind of like to put it on here though, so I don't have to do anything after it when it comes out of the oven. Oop, that's our cauliflower. I'm going to pull the cauliflower just so I can show you where it is. And then if you guys personally would want to cook it longer, you can, right? Let me go get it. It's going to be gorgeous. Whoa. Look how pretty that is. So I like that really deep color that you can see. That you can just let it go longer if you like, if you want it all that brown, okay? I'm going to pull it and keep it out though, just for the sake of being able to enjoy it with you all and put these in. Since these are so skinny, I'm going to start it for 10 minutes and we'll check them, okay? Let's do 10 minutes. Okay. I just want to remember that that's there so I don't turn around and touch something hot. Deb, I haven't used hydrated garlic. No. You know what's so funny? I realized I don't think I'm as much of a purist as just simplistic in how I cook, right? Like even though I have beautiful appliances and I'll use a food processor and a stand mixer, I don't use a lot of gadgets. I don't use a lot of like one-time. I don't have an Instant Pot. I don't have, what else don't I have that everybody's excited about? Oh, an air fryer. Because air frying is just convection heat. And so I'm like, I have a convection oven. I don't need to buy an air fryer. But I've realized it carries over into my ingredients. And it's probably because since I do what I do for a living and I'm always trying to convince people they only need to go to one single grocery store to get everything, that I don't end up trying a lot of fun things like that. So that's so interesting. And is it frozen or it's just, since it's like, is it dehydrated basically? And you have to hydrate it. You add water. So does it stay at room temp and then you hydrate it? Or can you just by adding it to a pan with liquid? So interesting. Dry in a huge bag from Amazon. Interesting. Why is water so delicious? Okay, I'm going to pull my hair back one last time and I'll wash my hands again because I do this, you guys. I shower for you. I get clean and then I dry my hair for 2 minutes and I don't do it enough to like do anything with it. And so I consider this acceptable. So So let me just tie it. My bangs are driving me crazy. That's what happens when you don't style your hair. Now my hair is going to smell like garlic. Great for vinegars and oils. That's so cool. I love it. Let me just wash these, and we are going to move into the pistachio and pomegranate relish, which I am just so excited to show you. It's delicious and good with so many things. And my microplane has garlic on it still, and that's okay. When I zest the lime, it's probably going to taste a little garlicky. I could rinse it, but why bother? I want a bowl to put this in. Oh, that's why I got this one out. No, I don't want this one. Okay, friends, meet my second favorite sauce. Actually, I think this will be my first now because I'm tired of my chimichurri. Now look at my hair. I just need a clip. Again, it looks like an angry bird. So here's what we're going to do. I have my own recipe out, and we are going to follow it. I've got 1/3 cup of extra virgin olive oil, 1/2 cup of pomegranate seeds, 1/2 cup of chopped pistachios, 1/4 cup chopped mint, and parsley, flake salt, and a lime. That is it. I'm going to use the zest from the lime as well. And we're just going to combine the ingredients. So I've got the pomegranate seeds. The most exciting things are the pomegranate seeds and the pistachios. I learned something today. It is very hard to find unsalted pistachios out of their shell. These are lightly salted, so I'm not going to add any salt to this recipe until I've made this in its entirety, because the pistachios are going to soak up why is my green Nom Nom Paleo book on the red shelf instead of the green shelf? Because we use the red, yellow, and green Nom Nom Paleo books as stands to prop up my computer, so it probably just got thrown in with the others. That's so hilarious. Thanks for noticing. I'm just going to roughly chop these, okay? And then they're going to go straight into this bowl. 1/4 cup. Again, you can certainly measure. I'm not measuring because it's just Charlie and me, and I know what I like. I'm just going to eyeball it. But you guys, I love pistachios. I don't use them enough. They're not cheap. It's like pine nuts. And so I end up using almonds and walnuts a lot. Put them straight in the bowl. Again, if you're not me, please use a different edge than your knife. Do as I say, not as I do. I bought the pomegranate seeds, tendrils, whatever we call them these days. Oh, look at that. It's like meant to be resealable. Very clever. I almost bought a whole pomegranate, but then I figured you don't need to see me whacking a pomegranate. I think I've already done that for all of you. They're so good. And they're so good for us. And they're loaded with fiber as well, which we need more of every day in our lives. Okay. I'm going to do the lime zest right now and the juice because I want to remind you that you should zest your citrus before you juice it. Because if you juice it first, imagine trying to zest something that's all mashed up and cut in half, right? So I'm just going to do this. And then watch, when I pound this, there comes the garlic with the lime. Chris, yeah. You know what? I'm just glad that my house isn't like a total disaster. We have like all of these, you buy these backdrops to pretend like you've got their surfaces so you can swap them out for pictures. So it looks like you're cooking off of or working off of like different tables or counters. So I've got all of those in the house. I've got tons of equipment. Oh my God. There's something about lime zest that just, I don't know what it is. It's not like I grew up eating a lot of limes, but I love it. Maybe that's why I love it. I really didn't eat limes growing up. Okay, I'm going to use my old-fashioned citrus press this time instead of doing my lime trick because I can. And then I'm just going backwards. Did you know that in recipes, you guys, you start by doing you list the ingredients in the order in which they're used. And then if you tell someone to put all the ingredients in a bowl at the same time, you start with the most volume and you end with the least. And so that's how I write my recipes. But right now it just looked like fun to put the small things in. Flake salt, we're going to wait. Mint and parsley. And then I'm just going to use the olive oil right now. third of a cup. I'm going to use, that's not a third of a cup. I'm going to use another bottle that I really like to finish it off, which is Cobra. They've been out of Balistreri, which is my favorite. My neighbors, they're just a stone's throw from here. Balistreri olive oil, wine. I encourage you to look them up. Okay, and then I just need to add my herbs. So let's get the parsley and the mint. I already set it aside. Quarter of a cup of each. I'm going to use probably more than that because I like herbs and I'm going to want extra sauce. This is delicious on chicken. It'd be great on shrimp. You could like season the shrimp with like a spice rub and then put this on it. Yum. Great on vegetables. We're moving it to delicata squash is the new butternut because it's easy to cut and you can eat the skin. So I was going to do a butternut squash recipe, and then I was like, why? It's such a pain. I know people who've gone to the hospital cutting themselves with a knife trying to cut up a butternut squash. And I don't want that happening to anybody from my book. So this is delicious on squash, carrots, cauliflower, broccoli, but also on poultry, fish. It might get lost in a steak. Oh, lamb. I think the mint would be gorgeous with lamb. A little rack of lamb like this. I'm just gonna kind of run my knife through aggressively to get it cut down into smaller pieces. Remember how I always keep this hand tucked in? My favorite flake salt is whatever is in front of me. I used to use a lot of, I love Jacobsen Salt Company out of Oregon because one, he's my friend, and two, it's from the United States, and he figured out how to start harvesting salt off the Oregon coast. So I love Ben's story. So Jacobsen Salt Company is a favorite. I have some Malden right here, but I'm not, it sounds funny to say I'm not very picky about it, but I don't spend a lot of time looking into flake salts because I use them probably 1 out of every 30 recipes I make, you know, like very rarely am I finishing something with salt. And I think it speaks to the nature of my book. I'm going to juice these. I just got a new juicer. And so I'm going to save those. Yeah, I just got a new juicer to test that I'm super excited about. I currently have 4 juicers in my house. So you guys can see why I don't have a lot of gadgets or specialty things. I am overflowing. This is going to be so delicious, you guys. And it would last. The pistachios soften up a little bit in the fridge, right? So keep this, you could make everything in it and it lasts for like 2 or 3 days. The pomegranate seeds would eventually get a little weird too. But you could assemble everything else and then fold those things in before serving. Okay, these are the carrots. So I don't think they're going to be done, but I want to show them to you. Let me get an oven mitt again, and we'll put them right here. And then we'll be set. Then all we'll have to do is finish the green beans. Ooh, they smell amazing. Aren't they pretty? You can't see, like they're looking kind of just, you can see that the skin is roasting really nicely. I'm just going to give them my same little test with a knife, with the big knife. Those big ones, no. Nope, they need more time. I'm going to give them probably another 8 minutes or so. Again, you should not use your hands to flip these. You just can't teach an old dog new tricks. Yum. They're going to be delicious. You guys, I didn't put the spice. Did I put the spice blend on? Did I not? Or did I not? No, I did. I did. I just didn't use all of it. So suddenly I was like, what is happening? Let's just do a little bit more. 8 minutes, and then start. Okay, we got this. Delightful. Let's finish up this. I'm calling it a relish. I don't know what else I could call it. Any other questions while I'm finishing my chopping? No? We're going to need parsley for the next recipe as well. But I'm going to probably just do that right at the end. Let's get a spoon. Mix it all together. It's so funny. My friend is texting me about cooking tonight. And she's asking about something. Should I do a marinade? And she's a member of House of Haas, but she doesn't realize I'm teaching a class right now. Silly, silly. Okay, I want more olive oil because I want this to be a little bit more spoonable, if that's a word. I leave it over here? Yeah. And I know I'm going to need salt. And then we'll add, I've got the juice from the one lime, which I think will be plenty. The other thing you could do is you can add some of the spice blend to this if you want. I still want this to be a little more pourable. I'm just going to bite it though. It's like a salad almost. Mmm. I love it. And it's so bright with the citrus. For once, you know, I'm usually balancing things out with a little bit of honey or maple syrup. I'm not going to do that because the carrots are so sweet. This is delicious. I just want, like I said, a little more olive oil because think of it like a garnish, right? Where you want to be able to spread it over something. So you can make a note in your recipe to add up to probably a half a cup of olive oil. It just completely depends on what you'd like the viscosity to be. I love that word for this. Yeah. And you guys, this would even be, this combination would be so delicious, like mixed into a salad, you know? You could do it dry without the oil and it would be amazing. Oh, I love this. Okay, I know I'm going to use this again, but I can't stand the mess around it. So let me just wipe it off and then we'll finish the green beans in the pan and we're going to be able to enjoy all of our beautiful food. Okay, so I'm going to need some shallots. I need to slice some shallots and then I'm going to need to toast some almonds and we'll finish the green beans in the pan. So I'm going to do this all in one really big pan, which will be so easy and nice. And I want to show you guys shallots because they're such little boogers to slice because they come usually with two halves. And then they're kind of these strange shapes. So I like to buy big ones when I see them because I find it easier to cut big ones than I do the small ones. I'm looking for my little paring knife. It's one of the few times I would use a paring knife. The one I was using to test my doneness for veggies. Okay, let's just cut the other side off. They're so asymmetrical. You can't usually do the trick like you would with an onion where you can leave the root intact and slice it. So let's not do that. We're just going to cut the skin off. I'm just cutting through it to find the easiest way to pull that skin off. That was the most forgiving it's ever been. Sometimes they grow this black mold. Don't worry about it. Just pick it off. I'm not kidding. If it's all black, you should be worried, but it's not. This one might be. It's funny. It's like it grows underneath the skin of it. You can see why I like shallots that are already peeled. But the brand I've been buying, when I buy them in the bag, you guys, they sit there for too long and they get really gross. And so Whole Foods before the holidays, and I think some other places, they'll peel them and they'll sell them just in pint containers, and those are fresh and ready to go. But whatever the farm is that sells them in the bags, they need to do a better job of, well, they don't sell fast enough in most stores. Okay, I'm just gonna slice these. I always slice my onions next to the cooktop, the gas cooktop, so I don't cry. But I'm not doing that right now, and the tears are gonna start flowing. Okay. So again, I'm just looking for a flat surface, you guys, for stability, because these shallots are slippery and very oddly shaped. And I'm always cutting up, right? If you start cutting back down towards your hand, that's when you risk slipping as well. So you can see that I'm cutting on the up part of the vegetable. When I get to the top of the onion, I just flip it around 190 degrees. This one is like neither here nor there. Okay. And then this one. Normally, you know, when I'm chopping, the tip of the knife doesn't leave the board, but because this is so tall and I'm wanting to be really careful with it, I'm allowing it to leave the board. And now I cut it into a weird shape. So let's just get another flat bottom. And now it's a little shorter, so I can keep the tip of the knife on the board. Okay, we're going to roll the dice and do something wild, friends. We are going to cook the shallots and caramelize the shallots, and then add the onions to the pan. And then we are going to not take anything out before we add the green beans and the lemon zest, little squeeze of lemon juice if we'd like, and finish them off with some fresh parsley, okay? So let's see where we are on the carrots so I don't do too many things at once. Does anybody need to get a drink or take a quick break? Because I'm going to probably fill up my glass and then just make sure I've got enough space here for us to show everything at the very end, right? So I'm going to clear this out and make room for our presentation and questions at the end. So feel free to take a quick break. And then I'll finish the green beans. That we're going to need. Not this. This, not that. Isn't that what they say? I'll just put these back here. So I showed you I'm only doing a half batch of the green beans, and it's still quite a bit. We're going to need the lemon. We're going to need a little parsley. We don't need the mint or the garlic. And I'm going to leave this relish back here. I'm going to leave the chimichurri back here for the cauliflower. And here come the carrots. Let's take a look. Oh, they're gorgeous. Oh, look at how beautiful they are. Wait till I put the relish on them. Your smoke alarm is going off, Chrissy, poor thing. Oh, these are so pretty. Okay, let me see if the cauliflower pan is still too hot. Nope, it's good. Let's put that here, actually. All right. And then, thanks for bearing with me, friends, since I'm doing this all on my own. You're very patient with me when I move things around. Chrissy will give you time for your oven to cool down, right? Or to chill out. I'm just going to drizzle some of the chimichurri over this right now while it's still warm, and it's going to be beautiful. And then you can always serve more chimichurri on the side, you guys. So we're going to have kind of like 2 of these recipes done before I finish the green beans. Ooh. You could certainly slice it too, but this is something like if you want to bring it to the table whole, it's just so like, wow. But it's definitely a pain in the butt to go back and then like take it back out and then slice it, right? It's kind of high maintenance, but big wow. If you're doing a vegetarian dinner, excuse me 1 second, it's asking me if I want to add a new session. No. If you want it to be the centerpiece of something, put it on a platter, right? Or a smaller plate and do that and surround it with chimichurri and watch all of your friends and family think you're more amazing than usual. Okay, now let's get the relish on these. I'm just going to kind of like drizzle it over. And let's move that one. I mean, come on. These are just spectacular. Let me show you what this looks like. Ta-da! Isn't that beautiful? It's so beautiful. Okay, I just wanted to show you those before we get into the busy work here of finishing the green beans. So I am taking out my huge Heston pan. This is 5 quarts and I love it because you can cook so many things in it, and I can do this whole pound of green beans in this pan, okay? So that's exactly what we're gonna do. And put it on the heat. I want to make sure you guys can see me. I might move this camera over a little bit. Let's just do that. Move this. How's that? Yeah, then I can kind of be here talking to you and you can see what I'm doing. This is all too much deliciousness in one place. I want everything I need for my green beans right here and ready to go, okay? So I'm going to put the lemon zest over here as well because I'm going to zest it into the pan. I probably put my microplane over here. Let's see. Yep. This time I'm rinsing it off. We don't need lemon, lime, garlic green beans, do we? I don't think so. Okay. How many of you are hosting Thanksgiving? Any of you? I'm so curious how many are hosting and how many of you are trying to like cook the majority of the meal. I like when we all contribute. I mean, I turn into a crazy person, and when I'm cooking everything, I love it. But then I love it because other people want to contribute too, right? They want to be proud. I'll talk about leftovers, Victoria, as soon as I'm done here, okay? I'm going to put these in and then add the olive oil. Just reach for it. And a generous pinch of salt. This olive oil doesn't come out very quickly, so I know it looks like a lot, but it's not too much. Salt. Spatula. Actually, I'm just going to use this little wood spoon. It's not perfect for size, but let's see if this like helps or hinders. Well, it's probably pretty good, huh? Okay, let me turn this down. Runaway shallot. Now, this is a special quiz. What do I do when I go against the grain and I tell you to do something when you're caramelizing onions that most people don't do? I also do it with mushrooms. Ooh, Ruth, I like your entrance ticket. Anybody remember? I add a little water to the pan where it looks like it's burning, okay? So let me do that. All the sugar from the onions come out, and you want it to be the yummy caramelized thing, not just like burnt. So I just add some right there, and it lifts right off. Nobody needs to know this. Chris, you cook it all? That's awesome. And yes, you know what I do? Well, since I'm kind of moving quickly on the shallots, this is higher than you would do for onions for sure. With mushrooms, you want your pan as hot as humanly possible, which can get interesting. Okay, that. We're gonna still need our microplane. You'll notice, like, I might be moving away from the stove, but I'm never leaving, right, this small area. I'm going to add a little more oil to the pan because I'm going to want more oil in general. for tossing the green beans. I'm not doing butter with these, and a lot of times I do. So I'm just adding a little bit more to get it kind of moving around. The spoon just mixed right in with everything else. Shallots cook much faster than a yellow onion or a red onion, so I'm a fan of them for that reason. Never mind that they're sweet and delicious. I'll show you what they look like before I add anything else to the pan, okay? I'm gonna get a little more water in case I need it. You doing okay? Is this too much to learn today, or are you guys happy with 3 recipes? You know you always have to tell me. I don't know why I think like with vegetarian, it wasn't substantial enough with 2, but I love showing you guys lots of different things to do. And hopefully you'll remember that blanching is awesome and can make your vegetables, you know, crisp and delicious, and that you can do it in advance. Hooray! Yeah, you guys are so nice. You're all the sweethearts. Thank you. Okay, so these are starting to get pretty brown. I don't want to rush it, as I'm tempted to do, because I always want to show things quickly to you. So let me just give them a little bit more time, and then I'm going to add the almonds straight in there. And we're going to see what happens. I think in the recipe I wrote, I tell you to do the almonds, take them out, and then do the shallots. Well, let's just see what happens. My guess is they'll still brown. One of the things I love most about my job is that you're always learning, but sometimes things really surprise you. You know, like I'll do a recipe the same way a million times, and then it'll be like, why have I never tried it this way? And then you end up changing it and you love it. I'm looking, oh, portobello burger. I love it. That's a great idea. Yeah, you know, I shouldn't say it's a hard sell to do all veggies around here. It's when I bill it as like vegetarian dinner. But like we do all kinds of things that are vegetarian, right? Like any of the pasta dishes I do, bean dishes. But if I serve like cauliflower, green beans, and carrots for dinner, my kids would probably be like, what are you doing? Even though it's all delicious. Meatless Mondays for sure. Okay, so these are probably a little paler than I would want, but I'm going to add the almonds to the pan and I'll keep cooking some. So let's just see what happens. First of all, I'm going to add a little bit more water and just scrape up that sugar one last time. I mean, I can see why I tell you to do it in steps, honestly. But now that I've committed, we're not turning back. Okay, I'm going to add some almonds. Another little pinch of salt, because they need it. And the green beans are going to need to be salted in their entirety, too. So let's see if these almonds brown at all while they're hanging out with the shallots. You have to be patient, but also watching it so that if they burn, you can be stirring it, right? We need like cooking music too, when it's whatever you're waiting for is holding, you know, like you just need like cook for 3 to 5 minutes where we could be listening to something. Maybe I should call Spotify and ask for that service. Yeah, they're not going to get as toasty as I'd want, I have a feeling. But it's fun to try. I'm getting a little more water. Very fun to try. Yeah, I would totally toast the almonds separately because the shallots are going to get really pretty and the almonds aren't going to be brown enough. So the almonds take about 2 minutes to brown at the beginning. I would absolutely keep that step. They're just going to kind of get a little bit, yeah, they're not as good this way. The recipe you have is approved. Okay, let's add the green beans. the lemon zest. Now you absolutely can add butter here if you want the flavor of butter. No one is here to judge you or tell you what to do. I love butter on green beans. I'm going to just kind of try to mix these together a little bit. Turn it down. And then we're trying to coat the green beans in that beautiful olive oil. I'm turning it way down because then I'm going to add the lemon zest. And I'm going to add a squeeze of the juice. I don't know if I told you to, but it's totally personal preference. This is such a bright and vibrant dish. No joke. So we're just trying to warm the green beans by keeping it on the heat. It doesn't need to be very hot. Especially if you were taking them from cold refrigerator to this, right? Ooh, these are looking good. And now I want to taste them before I add. They're so good, you guys. They need salt. No surprise. And I just want a little lemon. And then we'll mix in some parsley, but you don't even need it if you don't want it. I think the parsley just adds a freshness that I really like. Let's put this in my compost. Okay, and I'll just do a little bit of parsley, okay? And then we'll put the salt in as well. Just do boom, boom, boom. I talk to myself while I cook. Get ready, by the way, since we're almost done here, if you have questions. Ruth, you're not doing anything wrong. I mean, if anything, I'd tell you just to keep cooking them longer. They break down to a point of being like melt in your mouth, but you might not like that. You've probably had them enough times in your life to be like, they're not for me. So if you don't like them, you don't have to use them, that's for sure. I wouldn't substitute anything. You could add a little garlic if you want some, other flavor, but I wouldn't try to like put a different element in their place. Okay, let's use the tongs to do this again. Now this would just be gorgeous on a big old platter. Whoop, they go flying. I wonder if I have a platter that I can actually access right now. No. So we're going to bring them over in their pan. Let me add a pinch of salt. I think I've done enough. I've created enough dish mess, don't you? I've got pot, the unused pot, pan, a couple of bowls, cutting board. I've made enough mess for today. Let's put that there. And then I'm going to put something down underneath that. Friends, this meal, these vegetables, this really could be a just absolutely delicious meal. Or like you do things like this and then you grill something, like grilled chicken or, oh, can you see these? I want to show you. I'm going to have to put them on a white plate just so you guys can really see what they look like, okay? The cauliflower. Next up, I feel like a maitre d' or someone in a restaurant, a server of formal things. Let's move all of my nonsense out of the way. All of the things we don't need to finish this up for you. And then answer questions. And then these beautiful carrots, my friends. Ooh, beautiful, right? I want to show you what these look like on a white plate too, because they're just stunning. When people ask if they can serve things on black or other colored plates, you can, but I think it just usually distracts from the beauty of the food, right? Because things look really clean when you can see them. Like if you have like gray or beige or something really pale for dinnerware, and like, chefs will pair recipes with different colors like artwork. So it's not that you can't do it, but if you're just trying to do a beautiful meal and you want the food to stand out, keep it simple. right? See, then you can see how beautiful and green they are. Let's get a couple of carrots on this plate. I can use my fingers because it's my house. And then we'll spoon some of the beautiful sauce over it. Let's get one more. Oh, you guys. Mother Nature rules. Check it out. I mean, just beautiful, right? So if you had a platter, a long platter, you could just do the carrots straight across. You could do the same thing with the green beans in like a big dish, oval or rectangular. Cauliflower could go on a plate. It could also go on a cutting board. So if you wanted to cut it, you could do that. That would be really beautiful. But any way you slice it, it's going to be really good. Okay. We have about 15 minutes left. I am going to get a little bit more sparkling water and I'll answer your questions. Okay. Oh, actually, I have it right here. Let me pull up a chair and we'll talk veg. Stunning. I mean, it's amazing how vegetables can just be so beautiful, right? I'm going to move this camera down a little bit again while I sit so that you guys will be able to see what I did and ask me any questions to wrap things up. Okay. Now I cut my head off. That is going to be better, I hope. Yes, I have a head again. You know what's amazing, Lori? I see you saying you would become a vegetarian with more recipes like these. That's how I feel when I take the time to cook vegetables like this. So I get lazy, right? And I kind of fall back into the same animal proteins that I'm so used to cooking on weeknights. And so it's easy to blame it on like, oh, kids or whatever. But no, I cook for myself half the time at least. And Charlie loves veggies when I make things like this. He'll eat broccoli. He'll eat a lot of these things. And happily, I think it's just a matter of then, like having something else to supplement it if people are used to eating meat a lot or fish, which is fine, right? But my goal is just to get more vegetables into my life, period. So I love it. Let's see what Susie's saying. If I use thick carrots, would I just roast longer or slice them into thirds or fourths? Okay, great question. I think if you roasted really thick ones longer, it would be pretty hard because, since they get thinner at the bottoms, they'll get really nicely cooked at the bottom and then just take so long at the top. So I would have them lengthwise. And if they then get closer to kind of like this thickness at the top, you're in good shape. You could also cut them on a bias. I love cutting things on a bias in kind of like 2 or 3 inch pieces, right? So cut each carrot into 3 or 4 pieces and then just toss them in the spices and put them on the sheet pan cut up. I'm having flashbacks to a recipe I did that was similar to this, but I just slice all of the rainbow carrots on the bias into little slices like I would a regular roasted carrot recipe, and it's absolutely stunning. So you can definitely change that and cook them any way you like to cut things. I love it. No one important ever came over. Michael, that's so funny. I can't believe it. My wedding china is not very formal. It's super cool. It's hand painted and we very rarely used it. And I was saying to my ex-husband the other day, I was like, oh, should I keep this? And he was like, yes, of course you keep it. And then for the cookbook, we're using it. It just absolutely matches what we're trying to do with the cookbook. So I'm so excited. It's finally having its moment 22 years later, I think. It's pretty funny. What else? Did I miss any other questions? I cannot wait to keep cooking with you. You all know, you've probably heard me say it, Thanksgiving is my Super Bowl. I love the day. And if you sign up for the Thanksgiving class, I'm also doing an emergency 1-hour session the day before Thanksgiving for those who signed up for the class to answer any last minute panicky questions, from my turkey is frozen to I didn't buy a turkey to wait, I don't know how to make gravy. I won't have all the answers, but I'll give you the confidence I hope to keep moving forward with it. And remember that it's just cooking, right? We're not trying to save lives. We are just making delicious food and having fun with each other and finding a great excuse. Food is the excuse to come together. So I love that. Any other questions, my friends? I hope you all have a lovely evening. You will probably expect to see emails from us soon for the announcement of the next House of Haas classes. And the themes. Oh, I'm so glad you liked this one, Anita. Of course, KQ, it's absolutely my pleasure. And then we'll get ready for December, because I know we were all really excited about doing an appetizer and cocktail class. So we'll be doing it for sure. You're so welcome, everybody. We will also announce who the winner was from today and what they won. So stay tuned for that. When you get the playback of this class, we will have announced the winner and what the prize was. I'm waiting to hear back on the prize confirmations for November, but I think you guys are going to be pretty happy with them. You're so welcome, Nancy. So nice to have you on here. Everybody have a terrific rest of your weekend. And thanks for hanging out at House of Haas. Okay, see you soon. Oh, you know what? And I didn't answer that question. Somebody asked about refrigerating too. How do you keep them warm for dinner? Let's talk about both things. How do you reheat them and how do you keep them warm? I'm so glad I didn't hang up. If you were going to do this, you could keep this cauliflower on like the keep warm setting on your oven, in your oven, 200 degrees, right? 185. Just tent it with a little bit of foil probably, and it would stay warm for a couple hours and still be really good, okay? But if you have it on something hotter in the oven, it's going to get too dark on the outside. So just on keep warm setting. I would do that for the carrots as well. I would just not put the relish on until the last minute because you don't really want it to cook too much. Green beans, do everything except put the almonds in. So now that I tested it, you toast the almonds first, like the recipe tells you to. Take them out. Everything else, you could either cover it or, cover it. I wouldn't do the green beans more than like 30 to 60 minutes in advance. They're just going to kind of get sad over time, right? For reheating any of these things, you could absolutely try to microwave them. That not in its whole, but cut up into pieces. Or put them back in the oven at 275, 300 for a few minutes. I would also do the green beans back on the cooktop. You could put a big pot on again, add a little bit of oil, but make sure the pot is hot, right? Or just a little bit of water and add them in, and then put a lid on it to steam it, right? So those are my suggestions for those recipes to keep them warm, okay? We good? Do I have parsley on my teeth? Like I normally do? Okay. Thanks, you all. So much fun hanging out with you. I think it's funny that no matter how much cooking I do, we always kind of get, there's only been one class, I think, that was an hour and a half long, right? We always get closer to 2 hours, whether there's one person here, which has happened before, or 20. How many do we have today? 16 or 23 in total? I don't know. But thank you, friends. Have a great weekend, okay? Bye.